Hello Apes and welcome to screencast number 4 for chapter 24, Sustainable Solutions. And at the end of the last screencast, we were talking about the competitions that take place among college campuses for different solar energy designs. So this picture here just represents some of the different designs that were made by the students and by groups of students in the way to harness energy in the most efficient ways. Now, we're going to be learning that we can make these solar panels so much smaller now and still be able to collect the same amount. And that's because technology is moving in such a good direction with helping to reduce the cost of using renewable resources. So even when we talk about dining services on campus and farms, they can promote more sustainable food. 25% of the students take in cafeterias, what food they use actually becomes waste. We really throw out a lot of food, and a lot of that food is produce because we don't eat it quickly enough, we don't consume it, we don't have proper ways of storing it when you're dealing with food that the public is going to use. The FDA has restrictions within restaurants with how old it can be. So a lot of food actually becomes waste. One of the things that they're talking about is going trayless. And they're asking students to carry plates to reduce the food waste. Because when you have a tray, you're going to load more food up on that tray, and then as you're sitting there, your time's running out, you're not going to be able to eat it, so you toss it out. Once you have it on your tray, it can't go back into general circulation because it's considered contaminated at that point, so you have to throw it out. Even going trayless, you're reducing the plastic or the metal that's used to make the trays. Food services can also purchase in bulk and buy organic and locally grown food. And that's going to help to keep money within the local economy. It's going to help support the local farmers. And usually when you're buying from the local farmland, it's cheaper because you're not paying for the transportation of the food. We had gone to Costa Rica, and the pineapples are really, really delicious there. And I've tried getting pineapples just as good. They have to be picked early, and then they have to be transported from Costa Rica. And that transport costs a lot of money. So if you were to go into places like Whole Foods, a pineapple from Costa Rica is going to be much, much more expensive than ones that are produced in local greenhouses here in the United States. Campuses also are going to have their own gardens or their own farms so that they can use some of the produce that they grow in those gardens in the cafeterias. Now this is great for colleges because colleges go year-round and there can be people there, students, to maintain the garden. It's a little bit more difficult for here at Gwinnett when we're not here during the summer months, and that would mean you would have to come back and tend the garden with that. So that's kind of a tough idea here, but that's a possibility. Students volunteer at community gardens. There's lots of different community gardens. I know several in Bucks County and a few in Montgomery County where they raise gardens, and then they donate all of that food that they raise during the summer to food banks for the poor. So that's something that can be done. George Mason University and Loyola University, they've established what they call a prairies for honeybees, and this is helping to keep the bee population going. So here's a couple of pictures that are showing students that are working and gardening These are wildflowers. We have our wildflower garden in the back that's going to attract an array of bees and butterflies and insects, and also provide food for the deer that's in the back. And you can see these look like maybe turnips they're getting from the garden as they do the gardens for food. So, oops, went a little bit too fast on that one. Campuses can support green initiatives by purchasing the following: recycled paper. One of the things that we're going to talk about is your textbook is made out of special recycled paper. So they're going to make sure that if they're going to purchase that textbooks, or you're going to get it online, either way, but if you're purchasing it, it is going to be recycled. That they're using certified sustainable wood. And some of that wood itself is recycled. It's not just cut from the trees, but it's been repurposed, uh, refined, and put back in. That they're going to use energy efficient appliances, making sure that the water heaters, the boilers, refrigerators, their air conditioning are all going to be energy efficient, that meet the standards. They're going to buy goods that have less packaging. It is better to buy loose fruits and vegetables than packaged fruits and vegetables. It's cheaper to do that, and they're going to make sure that they buy those. And they're going to look for eco-labeled products. I went to Costco, I was looking for dish detergent, and I got eco-friendly dish detergent so that it doesn't put pollutants and detergents back into our water system. So these are things that colleges encourage the faculty and staff and the organization to buy. Campuses can also switch to non-toxic cleaning supplies, and these will save thousands of dollars a year. And there's a lot of natural cleaning supplies that do so much better than the chemicals that we use, like ammonia and Clorox. Students can work with the ground staff, and they can help to eliminate the use of herbicides and pesticides. And they can do this by helping to weed, helping to maintain the property. You don't want to have a lot of bushes and things right up against the building, because then that's going to allow insects to be able to come in through the cracks and crevices that are created from the root systems. Weeds provide a place for a variety of different species that depend on it to come in and feed. So you can eliminate those weeds. You can also plant certain plants, like I've been pestered by mosquitoes this year, eaten alive. I'm their local dish. Plant some lemongrass, and lemongrass keeps mosquitoes away. So there's certain plants that you can plant that actually act as pesticides naturally. Many campuses also struggle with traffic congestion, parking shortages, commuting delays, and pollution from exhaust. So there can be alternate transportation, busing to campuses, riding bikes to campuses, walking trails are possible. Commuting accounts for over half the carbon dioxide emissions of an average college or university. Carpooling is one popular thing. Having dorms on campus so that students don't have to drive. Sometimes they have a rule where during your freshman and sophomore year, you're not permitted to have a car on campus, and that's going to help reduce the emissions and the delays and the traffic congestion. Campuses have tried to encourage bicycling. Some campuses now have bike sharing programs where they have bikes that you can sign out and use. They refurbish bicycles free to the students. so that the students have them available to them. Other solutions that have been put into practice are things that I've already talked about, busing or shuttle systems. They encourage bicycling, as we said, and walking and carpooling. They also encourage alternative vehicles, hybrids, and alternative fuels for the university fleets. Some are even looking at corn oil or water as a way of fueling the cars. So they're looking to those ways of helping to reduce their carbon footprint. Here's some of the bicycle programs that we talked about. Here's the alternative fuel. Corn oil is being a real popular one, and hydrogen from water is up and coming as well. And of course, we know the hybrids with the battery powered. So there's a lot of enhancement going on of the natural environment. They've been trying a variety of efforts in order to help maintain the green campus. One of the things is to remove invasive species. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the plant called kudzu. It kind of looks like grapevines and it grows everywhere, and they actually can grow so fast that they smother trees and kill trees. Google it when you're done this and find out about kudzu and how fast it grows. So what campuses will do is they will make sure that they are removing any invasive species plants like that. They restore the native plants to the communities. They improve habitat for wildlife. One of the greatest things about our campus is the deer and the fox that are around because we have wooded sections in the back that are conducive to those species, so we see them. They try to enhance soil and water quality. One of the ways that they do this is years ago, people used to bag the clippings from their grass, but now they allow the clippings to go back into the soil again so that it's putting natural nutrients into the soil. And then the types of grasses that you plant and the types of other plants that you have, they use different nutrients from the soil, so they make sure that they're using plants that do not just extract one kind of nutrient, that it uses all nutrients so that soil quality stays. They restore wetlands. Years ago in Florida, we were filling in wetlands and building before we learned the resources that wetlands provide. Campuses are managing land for conservation and educational purposes. So here's some things that students studying. This is a controlled fire. A lot of times we think fires are bad, but when you think about all of the debris, the leaf debris, the twigs and things that build up, if there hasn't been a fire in here in 100 years, then there's 100 years of leaf debris that's there and twig debris, and if a fire does happen, it's going to destroy the whole forest. But if they do control burns and periodically they burn this debris up, then it's not going to be able to kill these massive trees, but it'll just clean out the bottom and make it sustainable. All right, we're 14 minutes in. Let's stop here and we'll continue in the next screencast with the carbon neutrality.